Okay, now we're going to do the last part of the practice test, questions 21 through 30 in the Kaplan book. This part is going to go for questions 21 and 22. So I'm looking at the table, and it's all about tally charts, so how much number of mugs and capacity of cups. So my first question is, how many X's should be placed over the next fraction in the line plot? So I'm looking at my line plot. They started with fourths. I see that there were 2 lines for fourths. Then they go to halves. There are 3 lines for halves, 3 X's for halves. Now I have to look at the 3/4. 3/4, there are 2, so there should be 2 X's. I look at my choice. There should be 2. My second question, what is the greatest number of X's she needs to make over the fraction on the line? So I just look back at the chart and just look to see which one has the most tallies. Obviously this one has the most tallies out of all of them, and it has 15. 5, 10, 15. So that's all I'm going to look for here. Which one has 15? There's my answer, C. Next page. They're asking me about oranges and apples. The cost of the oranges is going up 10 cents every week, and the cost of the apples is 25 cents. So that's how I'm going to fill out my chart. Oranges by 10 cents. So 60 cents, 70, 80, 90 cents. My apples by quarters. 75 cents, $1, 125, 150. My question, by week 4, how much more do the apples cost than oranges? So I have to go back to week 4. Apples and oranges, how much more is that? So I'm going to subtract $1.25 minus 80, and I get 45 cents. So now when I look back at my choice, I'm choosing 45 cents. Choice A. The second question is really, really hard though. The fruit seller notices the difference between the cost keeps increasing. Why does this occur? So notices that the differences between them keep increasing. So look at the numbers. So they're only a little bit away, then it keeps getting bigger and bigger. So why is this happening? Just by looking at it, they're both increasing, but my apples are increasing by a lot more than my oranges. So I have to look for something that says that. And the only thing that makes sense is D. The cost of the apples increases by a larger amount than the cost of the oranges. Increases by a smaller amount. That's the only one that makes sense. So you have to make sure you're reading every choice carefully. What's the next one? 25 is actually really, really tough. It's a big visual problem, and it looks visually confusing. Let's look at the question. Barbara is swimming in a 1/4 mile race. She gets a cramp in her leg and has to stop after completing half of the race. Which diagram can you use to show how far Barbara ran? So when I'm thinking, Barbara ran 1 1/4, but she stopped halfway. So I need to know what is half of 1 1/4. Half of it. That means they're going to multiply these two numbers. When I work this out, turn it to an improper fraction, that means she only ran 5/8. That's how much she really swam, 5/8. Which picture shows me 5/8? Definitely not this first one. That's too many. This doesn't show 5/8. Here, this does show 5/8. So it's C. And that C is just there to make you think of 1/2. So a really tough visual question. Next. Which of the following decimals makes the number sense true? So it has to be more than 5 thousandths, less than 5 hundredths. So I have to look at all of them and check all together. So I'm going to start by writing 5 thousandths and 5 hundredths, and I'm going to put each of the numbers in there. Oops, I wrote it wrong. 500 should be right here. And I'm going to put each of the numbers in there to see if it's true. So my first number, does this make sense? This number is not bigger than this number, so it does not make sense. I'll erase it. I'll try the next number, 0, 0, 0, 2. That does not make sense. This is not bigger than this number, so I'll erase it. My next choice, 200 is bigger than this, and it is less than 500, so this is actually absolutely true. And let's try, we only have a few more to go. Which expression is half as large as 15 times 4? So that means I want half of this number of 15 times 4. So logically thinking, I want to know which one is half of, this gives me 60. Which number is going to give me half of 60? And that equals 30. So let's look at my choices. This is not going to give me half of it. This is going to divide and then plus 2. I'm adding these two numbers and then dividing by 2. That's not half of 60. Here, I'm going to get 60 and then divide by 2. So that's the best one. Hold it as still as you can, Matthew. So this makes the best sense. This one's very, very complicated. Which of the following word problems could be represented by 1/3 divided by 6? In other words, when would I take a third and share it into 6 pieces? The only one of these that makes sense was B. Denisha prepares 1/3 of a bottle of oregano, and she puts an equal amount of each into 6 meals. So she's taking the 1/3 of the oregano and she's breaking it into 6 meals. So please make sure you read 28 very, very carefully. And the last two have to do with this chart. So remember I told the kids that we have to walk first and then go up. So the first one, we have to find point Q. Point Q is all the way over here. So that means I have to walk to 5 and go all the way up to 8. So my points are 5, 8. The only one that matches that is B. And finally, which point has a coordinate 2, 6? Meaning I'm going to walk 2 and then go up 6. Walk 2, up 6, only M. So when I look at my choices, I'm looking for M, and it's right here. Please make sure you're reading the book very carefully and looking at the problems very, very carefully when taking a math test.